The fire in the living room crackled faintly, a polite backdrop to the ornaments' twinkle and the soft swell of Christmas music. Plates sat on the coffee table half cleared, the crumbs of dessert left by hands that no longer needed to rush. I sipped my drink, careful, deliberate, as though the glass itself could shield me from the show about to unfold. Mark stood first. My brother. The room always turned slightly toward him. Tall, confident, the way he always had been. The absence of Dad had left a gap, one that Mark intended to fill quickly, ceremoniously. "Since Dad's gone," he said, voice steady and clear, "I'm taking over the estate." Mom nodded immediately, almost instinctively. "It's only right, he was always a responsible one," she said, her tone a mixture of sorrow and finality. I let my lips curve in the barest acknowledgement, a polite smile. I'd seen this routine before, grief funneled into authority. The family had learned how to perform acceptance. Then came my sister, toasting without hesitation. "To the new head of the family." Her glass clinked against Mark's, and laughter rippled gently around the room. I held my drink, watched the reflections in the crystal, distorted frizzes, projected certainty. My fingers hovered over the laptop I'd set on my lap earlier, unnoticed. Mark's smile widened, satisfied. The room exhaled with relief that hierarchy had been confirmed. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. I opened the laptop. The soft click of the trackpad was louder than I expected. All heads turned, a subtle tension weaving through their laughter. "That's weird," I said calm, "because according to this," I rotated the screen toward them. "Legal documents. Notarized. Signed by our lawyer weeks before. Clear, unambiguous. I own everything starting January 1st. The shift in the room was immediate." Mark froze mid-smile. Mom's hand trembled slightly as she touched the edge of the table. My sister's glass wobbled before she set it down carefully, unspoken apologies in the motion. Mark's voice came first tight. "Liam, what is this?" "I have the paperwork," I said simply. No inflection, no accusation. "Just the facts. Dad wanted me to manage the estate. You can ask the lawyer. Everything is effective January 1st. Silence stretched. No one laughed. No one clinked glasses. The fire's crackle seemed too loud, intrusive. Mom's eyes shifted from me to the documents, searching for a loophole, a misreading, some justification she hadn't considered. There was none. I thought, Mark began, but stopped. Words failed him in the face of certainty he hadn't accounted for. I closed the laptop slowly, leaving the evidence visible on the screen. I did not raise my voice. I did not gesture beyond necessity. Control was quiet, undeniable. "You're serious," my sister said softly, almost as if asking confirmation would undo the reality before her. "I am," I said. Mark sat down abruptly, color draining. He avoided eye contact, staring at the floor as if a sudden weight pressed on his shoulders. He had spent the entire evening constructing his ascendancy, only to discover that the frame he built was empty. Mom's nodding, her certainty, faltered. She looked at me now differently, with hesitation, as though realizing that responsibility could not be handed out casually or assumed because someone had been loud enough to claim it. I sipped my drink again. The warmth grounded me, reminding me that I had prepared for this moment. Every call with the lawyer, every document filed, every quiet decision had led here. The room's energy had shifted without confrontation, without dramatics, but irrevocably. No one argued further. No one tried to reclaim what they believed was theirs. The hierarchy had been overturned quietly, decisively, legally. Mark's dominance was no longer performative. It had consequences, and he understood that in a way that laughter and approval could never replicate. I turned off the laptop, leaving the evidence lingering in the air, not to punish, but to clarify. I had not sought humiliation, only acknowledgement, and in this space recognition was enough. Dinner continued muted. Conversations were clipped, careful. No one brought up estate plans again. My sister passed the dessert plate quietly, avoiding any glances that could reignite previous assumptions. Mom busied herself with the fire, her movements slower, more deliberate, as if processing that her trust had been redirected, not mislaid. I finished my drink, set the glass down, and watched the reflections in the window. The room was the same, Yet everything had changed. Authority had intervened through preparation, not confrontation. Power had shifted, but quietly, inevitably. When I left later that night, I didn't gloat. The snow crunched under my feet, each step deliberate. The house receded behind me, its lights warm but distant. I carried nothing but certainty, the calm kind that comes when preparation meets opportunity and justice is simply applied. Christmas Eve would always be remembered differently now. Not as joyous, not as bitter, simply changed. And that I thought was enough.